I'd like to call this meeting to order. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Elick?
Here.
Ms. Karstafen?
Here.
Mr. Bax?
Here.
Mr. Brubaker?
Here.
And Mr. Gebhardt?
Here. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the September 4th, 2019 Elyria School Board meeting. I'd like to introduce our group up here. To my right is Board Member Kevin Brubaker. To his right is Board Member Jim Bax. I am Greg Elick. To my left is Board Member and Vice President Annie Karstafen. To her left is our Board Member Mike Gebhardt. To his left is our Superintendent Ann Slosh. And to her left is our Treasurer Joy Clayton. Okay, I believe we do not have any presentations today.
We do not.
Okay, and we also do not have any speakers.
That's correct.
Speakers are welcomed. If they sign up in advance, they can talk for 15 minutes, or sign up the day of and they can speak for 5 minutes. Moving along on the agenda to board discussion. Are there any board discussion items here today?
Just one.
Yes, sir.
I wanted the other board members, you board members, to know that I was able to sign the Ely Stone for all of you, since you were all working.
I did just send him a picture of proof.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, is that the picture going around that has you as a village people person in your white t-shirt and construction
That's
and
it.
everything?
That's
Okay,
it.
great.
That's it.
Okay, thanks, Jim, for signing for us.
Thank you.
Any other items today by the,
Went to the football game Friday. It was not how we wanted it to end, but I think the team played very well and they were very disciplined. I was wonderful.
Great.
Happy with them.
Good to hear. And Mr. Bax, will you have more on when we get to the GMP and to add there?
Just some detail, yes.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Moving along on the agenda to the minutes. The minutes for the August 21st, 2019 meeting were posted. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Board Member Karstafen and a second by Board Member Gebhardt. Any questions or comments? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mr. Brubaker?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Treasurer action items. Madam Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. President. My one and only item is donations, and it's to express appreciation and accept the gifts from First Student, a donation of school supplies valued at $200. Murray Ridge Center, a donation of school supplies at $300. Mr. Dick Lee, a donation of school supplies valued at $150. And UH Elyria Medical Center CAT scan department, a donation of school supplies valued at $150.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the treasurer action items? So moved. I have a motion by Board Member Brubaker. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Bax. Any questions or comments? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brubaker?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Any other reports today, Madam Treasurer?
No, thank you.
Okay, moving along to the OFCC, OSFC Sports Complex. First item on the agenda is the design development for the Eastern Heights. So I'd like a motion to approve the design development, submission, and AVG continuous construction phase for Eastern Heights by the treasurer.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, let me add the other part to that, just to review where we're at with Eastern Heights here. So the design development is done first, and that's to get the final design, and then we go to hiring the GMP based on that final design. So we have finalized the design that has gone around, and now I'd like to, for the Elyria School District, Treasurer recommends the approval of the GMP attachment 3.1 for Eastern Heights to the CMR agreement with AECom for the building package work at the new K through 8 Eastern Heights School as detailed in enclosure J3. So could I get a motion on both of those two, please?
I will amend my motion to include that.
Okay, so I have a motion of approval by Board Member Gebhardt. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Board Member Karstoffen. Any questions or comments? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mr. Brubaker?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Okay, superintendent action items.
Thank you, President Alec. I have the following items under action items. To approve the payment of the stipends as listed below. Maria does a lot of after-work hours translation with the Hispanic community in the district and with parents for us. Next, to approve the stipend for 2 teachers that are teaching a class at Elyria University. To approve the stipend of the following classified members below for CPI training. And we also have 2 teachers that are getting the CPI training. To declare the impracticality of providing transportation for the following pupils under sections 332701 and 332702 for the Ohio Revised Codes due to the distance. So this student is going to another school and that has to be approved. For the approval of the overnight field trip to Camp Fitch for Windsor Elementary in October. Beautiful time of the year to go to that. The approval of PSI for St. Mary contract and pupil services. They use them for their counselor as listed in enclosure K5. And that concludes my action items.
Do I have a motion to approve the superintendent action items?
Move to approve.
A motion by Board Member Bax. Do I have a second? Second. And a second by Board Member Brubaker. Any questions or comments? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mr. Brubaker?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Superintendent, other items today, Madam Superintendent?
No, but quite the list under personnel action items. We
Okay.
are still hiring. And there are a few in the audience
Wonderful.
today, so
Okay.
we'll introduce those. First, to approve the appointment of the following certified staff as listed below. I do want to make note of the social worker. This is the first of, we have a couple more positions. They're just waiting for their licensure with the state. Under that new success and well-being money through the governor, we are hiring some social workers to work with students and families. So to approve all the following certified staff below. Also to approve the supplemental contracts of the following certified staff as listed below. To approve the non-employee coaching volunteer as detailed below. I believe Jason was one of our players years and years ago. So it's nice to have him come back and volunteer. Also to approve the following game workers for working for athletics. And we have a resignation of a classified administrative staff member. And to approve the following classified staff, the appointment of the following classified staff as listed below. And we have 1 limited contract of classified staff, and that concludes my personnel recommendations.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the superintendent's action items?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Board Member Gebhardt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Karstoffen. Questions, comments? Madam Superintendent, I have a question. As we start to finalize this year's hiring process, will we be able to bring to the board sort of a plan moving forward? Because at the end of this year, obviously, we start our consolidation process, and where is that in the works right now?
Great question, and as I think I mentioned in the last meeting, but you're seeing a lot of LTSs next to the names of hires because we do not want to overhire what we then, during the consolidation period, have to look at where to put all of these positions. But we are going to begin our meetings. We have split into committees through cabinet. They have formed their committees, and that work is starting to happen already, has already begun to look at that. So staffing is a big part of that.
Okay.
So we are working, I believe, we started formally with our committees about a month ago.
Okay. And then one other item, maybe at the next board meeting or following board meeting, some information can be shared with this governing body about our hiring practices.
Yep.
I've had a number of questions from people on the street if we are continuing the hiring process of Elyria grads and Elyria residents. So
Absolutely.
The board would like to be able to know how to answer these
Sure,
questions. So,
absolutely.
Obviously, we want to get through the hiring for this year, and then if we can start to go through and analyze that data and start getting some reports to the board.
It's
that would
perfect
be-
timing. I think our next board meeting will probably finalize the hiring for this year that's expected.
Okay.
So,
And are we able to, all that hiring is done, applications are done online, correct?
Correct.
Do we know if somebody is an Elyria graduate, if they, is there a box like where you graduated from high school, or?
No.
No, so
Okay.
we've asked if we can get a report, man, and it's not that simple.
Okay.
So, sometimes they'll include that, but it's not a field that has to be filled out.
Okay,
We're actually going to ask them to add that field for us. There's several fields we'd like to add so that we have more information about them,
Okay.
as they apply, and make sure that we have it, those type of, but after they get hired, we have documented those notes and we can give you accurate data.
super, okay. That'd be helpful. Okay, any other questions on the?
How many licensed social workers are you intending to hire for this year?
For this year, we are hiring two. The next one should be on the next board. And with the new laws, they have to have school social worker license.
Uh-huh.
We are also looking at hiring another, he is a licensed social worker, but he will be doing a different type of job at the high school, working with not only social work things, but also the mentoring, the relationships, the diversion program, getting kids to stay in school. So we have some what we would consider out-of-the-box ideas coming along to help kids at all levels. So, and you'll get to meet one of our new social workers tonight.
Great. Okay, any other questions? None? Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll on the personnel action items?
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mr. Brubaker?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Okay, now we get down to the other.
We're gonna
Oh, are you
introduce
gonna?
first.
Okay, all right. We'll let Mr. Gebhardt sit and sweat a little more, and we'll go on to see who's joined our group here.
Okay, we have a few in the audience, a few new pioneers here to welcome to our family. When I say your name, if you could just stand so we could recognize you. Chantel Jackson, she's going to be a new social worker for our district.
Her daughter actually goes to Oakwood. Her son, I'm
All
sorry.
right, great.
Your niece is at Windsor, yeah, I'm
Great,
confused. Yeah.
great. Welcome, Chantel.
Carrie Kavalik, I knew I was going to mess that up. She's a long-term sub-kindergarten teacher over at Ely. Gregory Smith, he is our new orchestra director at Elyria High School. Command Sergeant Major Lococo, he is our new JORTC instructor at Elyria High School. And David Watts, he is moving from utility at Crestwood to general maintenance second shift administration. Welcome to the Pioneer family.
All right.
If I could make one comment, I will tell you, we are back up to over 500 kindergartners. We've been down between 425 and 450 over the last few years, but we are back up to 500 as we speak, so
Does that
that's
mean
why
we'll
you
have
see
to
so
add
many.
on?
Pardon me?
Does that mean we have to add on to new buildings?
No, I think we're okay.
Okay, good.
Bite your tongue.
What about the attendance? I mean, are we ups?
So I was going to bring that next meeting also. If you compare today till this day last year, we are up 25 to 40 students as far as what we call bottoms in seats. But we know that that is kind of a funky formula. But I will tell you, we have not lost what we were projected to lose again, as it looks just from the people count. One really huge thing, as we know, the west side is growing because of the new development, but for the first time in a long time, Westwood is over 500 students. And to put that in perspective, Eastern Heights is about 450, and we're down to 377 at Northwood. So it seems to be our community where people are, building and shifting.
So what did those numbers, say those numbers again for the middle
So
schools?
about 500 at Westwood, 377-ish at Northwood, and about 450 at Heights.
Okay, so everybody's like moving away from Northwood, kind of.
They're afraid of the principal.
Can you blame them?
They're afraid of the principal.
Okay.
So it seems to be shifting a little bit, as we
All right.
predicted when we were looking at the buildings and everything,
Okay.
so.
Great. All right, any other personnel items today?
Yes. Oh, yes, there is one, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that wasn't me. I'll let them do that to you. One other personnel item, I have to approve the appointment of the following certified staff for Nancy Gebhardt to be an ELL tutor.
Okay,
I'll make-
so we have a motion, or no, I'm going to need a motion to have another ELL tutor, huh?
I don't
Okay.
want him to sweat, so I'll make the motion.
We have a motion already by Board
That was
Member
right.
Brubaker,
I'll second.
and a second by Board Member Bax.
Executive session. Executive.
Okay, wow. Any questions or comments?
Yes. Is this by choice, or is she being forced into this?
No comment.
I abstain.
Okay, with that, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brubaker?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Abstain.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Welcome, Mrs. Gebhardt, to the Pioneer family. Okay, superintendent reports.
I just want to thank everyone. I think we've had a great first week. Very few calls about busing and students, being where they need to be. I commend all the building principals and the custodial staff and the maintenance staff, and really everyone just pitching in to making it an opening. And it was really neat. I was somewhere in the last week, and someone said, it's really nice to walk in the Elyria schools because they're so clean and so welcoming. And that means a lot, because that's what we want. We want our students and our
Absolutely.
families and community members to feel welcome. But other than that, first home game of our second year in our new stadium. So Friday night, big game against, I believe, Bedford?
Yes.
Okay.
And I heard the stadium the foundation for the pavilion at the
It's
stadium.
being poured this week,
They're working
yeah.
on that right now?
Mhm.
Okay, that's wonderful. And when do they think this pavilion will be done? Is there a,
They've got a couple dates. I know next week they're gonna kind of have the pouring and the foundations, and then I think we're looking at September 16th for like almost a barn raising.
okay.
Wherever, you'll start to see the structure go up and a bunch of contractors out there.
Oh, that's great.
We're hoping to use it for our tailgate this year.
And has, just curious, have the contractors kind of stepped up on this? There was discussion for a while that the contractors were going to supply the resources and the labor to build this, and that's still where we're at? Oh, that's wonderful. Could you, somebody keep tabs on, obviously, who all this board needs to thank for them to step forward? with that?
Sure.
That's outstanding that they are giving back to the community this way. So we'd like to make sure that we obviously honor everybody that's worked on this and contributed to this pavilion. Okay, Board of Education. Any items for the Board of Education for the good of the cause before we adjourn today?
Just a couple of updates. If you've been watching, if you could just see around the Ely construction site now, you can see piles or stacks of brown brick. Okay, so the outside veneer is going on. They expect to have the roof completed entirely on that building next week. So that's moving along nicely. Actually, all three buildings are moving very, very quickly. Northwood, I believe, is also getting veneered, but there's also wing construction continuing there. And if you drive by the Hamilton site, you'll see additional structure rising out of the ground. So that's moving along nicely. These buildings are still on track to all open August of 2020. I see no reason why that won't happen.
Jim, I've heard a number of people have asked me why the Ely project looks so close, yet the Hamilton project is so far away. Is the Ely project going to be done significantly before August of 2020?
I don't believe so. I think what you'll see is Hamilton will start moving very, very quickly once, because they will be shifting contractors around to these various work sites. As one job is completed, they'll just move. And I think what you're going to find is you'll find all three buildings probably wrapping up within a reasonable time of each other. I mean, I'm going to say, it could be 4 weeks, but I think that's pretty close.
So there'll be a lot of shifting of resources over to Hamilton.
That's correct.
Okay.
So anyone who's interested, you can go on the school website and look at that, pull down that master plan tab, and you can get access to all the videos, the on-site cameras that are at each construction site if you want to kind of look at what's happening there. And I suggest you do it because it's pretty neat. It works pretty well. So, but yeah, we've actually had a great summer to build. So if that continues, then we're going to be good. But we have to keep in mind that as far as construction progress, all three of these buildings have to be enclosed by this winter. So it doesn't matter. At that point, once all three buildings are enclosed, then it's going to be a matter of how much interior work has been done in one building versus the other. But those buildings have to be enclosed by sometime hopefully before December.
And since we passed the GMP today, how soon before we see people out on the Eastern Heights?
I know Jake is going out there because they're going to start the configuration. Is that what they call that?
Yeah, Monday, they're gonna be on site Monday. Precision is the early site package. They'll start fencing and stoning for driveways. So they're not hesitating at all. They're starting.
Okay. Great. Okay.
And I will tell you that Ely site, I believe, is supposed to get done a little bit earlier because, they have to knock that building down to be able to do the parking lots. So there may be a little wiggle room earlier to be able to do that. That's why we changed the calendar
Makes
this
sense.
year. Yeah.
So then with one building left, any quick, simple updates on where we are with Westwood?
We, I believe, sent the design to the city to look at. So we should be starting to move along with that.
All right.
The three different Ds, as I call them.
Okay.
CD, SD, and DD.
All right, good. Great. Okay, any other items by this board? All right, with none, we do not have any executive sessions this evening. So that brings us to the end. I'd like to ask a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Board Member Brubaker. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Board Member Bax. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brubaker?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.